Good afternoon, and welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to Infitech. So I do apologize, it's been a little while since the last episode. It was a combination of just being over encumbered with the amount of stuff that was going on. And of course I did change up the schedule, so everything is bi-weekly instead of tri-weekly. And I also had a ton of work to do in this series. A ton of work. So, like a lot of materials, a lot of logistics work, and just a ton of stuff. And a lot of clearing out. You'll notice that this area is totally cleared out now. And before I turn around, I'm going to say that the stuff that I made was expensive. We used a lot of Enderium and stuff, but after this point, resources aren't going to be so much of an issue. So, over here, and I do still have a lot of work to do to this. So this is just for now. By the way, the TPS lag is still here. I cannot seem to get it to stop being here. So just a heads up on that. So we might experience a little bit of TPS lag today. However, that's my mob setup, but this is our ore processing area. Now this area right here has to be moved. I set this up and I wasn't thinking, and it can't go right here. I don't know what I was thinking, because this stuff is all going to be encased in glass. It's going to be like a glass shelving thing. Okay, I couldn't remember the command to get hover mode. I'd turned it off and I couldn't remember how to turn it back on. But anyways, I do have to move this setup elsewhere because it would be way too tight of a fit. It would pretty much be a one space walkway, and that's terrible. Basically, this room's going to kind of wrap around. I still have to add quite a bit of stuff to this setup, but basically this is just an expanded version and a completed version, or relatively completed, of our old ore processing setup. So we've got all these filters that are set, and so we've got like dust and ores and so on, and they're going to come out from like a central input area, and then they'll go into their their respective filter, and then, so say it's an ore, it'll go into the macerator, and then it's going to go back into the crushed ore filter, and then get filtered out into either this low voltage super buffer here, or the one up here. Now this one does have a filter, so it can only accept certain things. However, this area is not plugged up just yet because we don't have the chemicals being produced to actually run this side. But basically this is going to either wash the ore or bathe it in chemicals, and create our next step that goes back over into our filters, and then gets filtered out into, I believe it goes into this one, creates purified, yeah. And then it goes into macerators. And I went ahead and made a separate macerator, so that way, these aren't busy doing something and then it's trying to send it to this and everything gets backed up. So we've got two macerators for each side. And then after that, it's going to come out, and also it can, if it's like something that can be sifted, like some kind of gem or something, it'll go into this chest that has a filter for purified things that can be sifted. I keep wanting to call it sieved, but you guys probably know what I mean. But anyways, so those things will go into here. Red is our output line, so any kind of gems and stuff like that are automatically going to get output. And then once all that goes through there, the stuff that goes to the macerators will then go through centrifuges, and I've actually got an extra line here because it was just too slow, using only 4 of them. And then stuff from the centrifuges will come out back into the green line, and any of our crushed centrifuged stuff is going to go into macerators. We have a separate set here, and then from there get pulled out. And then this right here is for tiny dust and small dust, and so it's going to break that down. Lime green goes up to here. This small dust go to this one, the tiny dust go to this one. Tiny dust go into a packager that puts them in a 3x3, and this packager does a 2x2. And these are set to only export, like this one can only export 4 at a time, this one has to export 9 at a time. So that's why I do have power ran to those two so that they can filter that. And I have the conduits turned off. They're not set to automatically extract because I want the super buffer to handle that. If we set it to automatically extract, it's going to pull out everything. Whereas if we don't have the conduits controlling it, then the super buffer gets to control it. And it gets to output, once it has 4 or once it has 9 of the same item. So that way we don't end up with a bunch of mess inside these packagers. And then once it goes through all of that, eventually things are going to make their way down to this area. And this is all filtered. I'm going to just completely filter this with logistics so that we don't have just a bunch of mess, So we've got specific things that can be smelted here, and some other things that can be smelted coming in the top. And I'm sure I'll have to add another chest or something. And then those will go into electric furnaces. I have 8 of those set up here, just basic ones. And then when it finishes, it'll pull out. And it's probably going to go into one of these chests. And these are set at decreasing priorities. So like this one is -10, this one's -11, this one's -12. So it's going to prioritize this chest first. This is the highest priority. It's just stone dust because we have so much of this stuff. You'll notice we have 75 stacks. And I haven't even started pulling ore from the AE system or running the World Eater connected to this. So also anything that can be electrolyzed goes into these super buffers. And this is what I have to move. However, you'll notice I have a chest here, electro. This stuff all has to be sorted. This stuff all either makes chemicals, or all this stuff makes chemicals like mercury and oxygen and hydrogen, all this different stuff. So we've got to set up a connection to our fluid room and have that handled separately. This chest is all just loose junk. This stuff all needs to go through blast furnace setup, and then some of this stuff needs to go through centrifuges. That's what I was trying to think of. It needs to go through centrifuges and different things. And these, right now, I just have them dumping into here. You'll notice we have an absolute ton of crap in here. So much sulfur, so much redstone. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So, and that was just stuff I had lying around in chests, like overflow chests sitting around. So, and by the way, all of these super buffers are filtered. So, like, for example, this one, and I may end up pulling these. I don't really need the advanced item filters in here. I made quite a few of these because I was like, I'm going to need a bunch of these to filter all these ores. I don't really need them for these. Because, like, for example, chalcopyrite. Chalcopyrite requires 4 before it can be electrolyzed. So I have this set up to extract only 4 at a time. And this one's like, I think 3 at a time. It takes pyrite and so on. So there's all these different counts of items that they need. So I couldn't have them all ran through the same super buffer. There may be a way to do that, I don't know, but I don't personally know of one. So I've just got it set up this way. And of course all these have power. So, but yeah, like I said, I mean, it's pretty much the exact same setup that we set up, what, like 10, 15, 20 episodes ago. Just a lot bigger. And that room is pretty well destroyed. It looks, honestly, right up here, it looks like there was an explosion. But when I was clearing out, this was all like red rock and stuff, so I just cleared it out. And this is where the old ore processing room used to be. So I've got to fix all the floors and stuff, and it's a heck of a mess right now. So, but yeah, I got quite a bit done. Wait till you see the World Eater. By the way, the World Eater, probably within the next couple episodes, I'm going to tear it all down and rebuild it because I can build it better. Basically, I had a comment on the last episode about putting the logistics inside the base. I'm going to do that. I'm going to tear down the World Eater, put all the logistics inside of our base, all the guts of it, and rebuild it. Because right now I don't have enough space to provide Perdito to all the arcane bores. So, I'm going to have to basically rebuild it. I'm going to build it bigger and better, and we're also going to have a teleport into there, and all kinds of really nice stuff. So, that's coming up. But basically, the whole mechanics of it is still the same. It's just going to be laid out different and better. And by the way, these random machines over here, this is just so that I could get stuff for filters. especially for like the sifters, the sifters, because I needed all this different little junk because, like, if we take a look here, all this purified stuff, I didn't have that stuff on hand, so I had to basically just make a couple machines here so that I could handle that stuff by hand just to get the filter set. But yeah, anyway, if you guys have any questions about this, let me know. But like I said, it's pretty much the same. It's just a grander scale and a lot better, a lot cleaner laid out. It took a while. And by the way, I did, for like the first time, except for when the world got broken. There was one time the world got broken. But for the first time, aside from that, I actually restored backups twice. Because when I was wiring all this stuff, I kept doing like the slash backup just to make a backup, And there was times I'd be back here wiring, and I wouldn't notice that, like, say I was wiring like over here, especially this one was a pain. When I was wiring up this LV stuff that's like right down here, I didn't notice like some of my wires were laid out differently, and I connected and just blew everything up, and it was literally like a chain reaction. It was my first time really getting to see like super explosions with GregTech, because it was like pow 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 pow, and then it hit the diesel engine up there, and it was like boom, and then the reactor went off, and it literally blew like from here over into our ethanol building. It like blew half that building away. It was like just a mega crater in the base. I was like, no. So yeah, I had to restore backup. The first one I didn't have a good backup, and I lost like, I guess it was about half an hour, close to half an hour, because I know it was just about to make a backup when it exploded. So fun times. But yeah, anyways, so sorry to ramble so much, but that's what I've been working on since last episode, because I feel like we're at the point now with GregTech. I feel a lot more comfortable with it. Up until now, it's been a major learning experience, and I'm still learning with it, but I feel like we need to start building a little bit more elaborate setups. Like, this is way better, I think, than that dinky little ore processing setup that I had up there. I mean, I barely even used it just because it didn't work as good as it should, So this one is a lot more refined. Filters are set, everything's handled, and once I get the rest of this stuff plugged in, like the blast furnace and the other electrolyzers and the liquid setups and the some of that stuff we'll be doing on camera, because we haven't, this is about as much as we handled with the last ore processing setup. I will probably set up the blast furnace and stuff like that off camera, because we've done that stuff on camera before. But if you guys have any questions about any of it, do let me know, and I will definitely do my best to help you. But basically, it's just a lot of channel work, using different colors and different things, because all the filters, if you notice, all these filters pull out on a different color. And that's how I handle most of this stuff, And then down towards the end, it's a lot more filters and channels and channel colors. So also right here, this chest, basically anytime anything gets processed, it goes back into the input area, either mainly in the filters. However, certain things will come in on a low priority, basically just leftover stuff, and that stuff gets pulled out through this conduit connector. Things like Certus quartz, quartzite, phosphorus, lignite coal, lazurite, emeralds. That stuff can be produced as a byproduct. So I just have it filter into here, and then it gets extracted with a filter on the red channel, which is of course our finalized or towards the end output. So things like dust and ingots and stuff like that gets processed by red channel. So that way, just that stuff was backing up. I didn't realize that it would happen at first, and that stuff was backing up the system, and so I had to send that back into the main chest and then filter it back out. So, but yeah, so that pretty much covers all of that. I do apologize about all the rambling here this morning. But what I want to do today is I want to, of course, I wanted to show you all of this. I want to connect our World Eater to this system and set it up so that it's filtered to get rid of things like cobblestone, gravel, dirt, stuff like that we really don't want. And then we'll pop on over to the World Eater. We need to add a couple things like a chunk loader, to it. And I've got another... I've been making a ton of excavation focuses with full potency and enlarge. So it's like rank 3 potency and rank 2 enlarge on them. It has been very, very expensive on my experience, as well as time consuming. Those things take forever to finish. So, like especially the rank 5. I have one more being created. I still need more really for the finalized build. So I'm going to keep building those, crafting those, even though I don't necessarily need them right this second. But whenever I go to expand it and rebuild it, it's going to be a lot bigger and it's going to have a lot more lasers on it. So I think you guys will really like it once it's all put together. But like I said, it pretty much uses the exact same mechanics, but we will move the logistics over to the base. So, and I'll have to expand the Perdido setup, but that's fine. That's not really a problem. So anyway, let's go ahead and plug this up. I'm going to quit rambling. So I do apologize. All right, so I think we're just going to put our dimensional transceiver down. We're going to set it up right here because I want the bottom of this. I want it all cleared out for the most part. That chest is going to be there, but that's it pretty much. So we'll set it right there. This TPS lag is terrible. I'm hoping I can figure out what's causing it. Like, I don't know. I mean, at first I thought it was the mirrors. It may still be the mirrors. I don't know for sure. No clue. I'm not even going to pretend like I know what's causing it because I don't. Sometimes it'll be here and then sometimes it's going to run perfectly for us. But anyway, let's go ahead. We're going to extract from it. And we'll do like channel orange, because I know that's one I'm not using at the moment. And we'll go ahead and pull it into the item line here. And then let's go ahead and set, we're going to go ahead and set this right here to orange. And then what we'll do is, oh, one of my little helpers is over here. I don't have my pneumatics wrench on me. I did make a helper program to help me dig this out a little bit. So that drone's been kind of digging away. I'll show you the program actually really quick. And we're going to go ahead and say it's going to connect up to the quarry line. And receive. And then power, it's going to receive from our RF power line. And there we go, it kicked on. And actually, let me go disconnect. Well, actually, before we do that, I need to set up one more thing here. We're going to set up a trash can. And we're just going to kind of hide this back here. We don't want this showing or anything. Go ahead and disconnect that for just a second. And we're going to set this to the orange line with a filter. And we're going to filter things like gravel, dirt, cobblestone. And then let's go ahead and just set a priority of like 20. And we may expand that, down the road or whatever. It's very, very likely. Anyway. And by the way, here's my helper program that I had for digging. So I told him to dig the area. It's basically the whole area that's down there. And I gave him the area coordinates. And then I told him to dig any stone, cobblestone, dirt, and red rock. And I didn't have him picking it up or anything. I just kind of just let it fall. I didn't care, because that stuff's not really important to us. So other things like ores and whatnot he left behind for me to go back through and dig those up and actually pick them up and everything. But that way he could just kind of help me dig it out. He wasn't the fastest in the world at it. But it did help me out a bit. Alright, and I got that changed over. It was going up to the AE system, but I got that fixed. So we'll go ahead and plug that in, and we may see some stuff coming in here. I don't know for sure. And this is kind of strange that it's producing things right now because it's not chunk loaded at all. So, yeah, see, it seems to be running without a chunk loader. The only thing is I don't know about how the whole frame system and stuff would work without a chunk loader. So we'll definitely still use one. But anyways, I do have a bunch of ores here. Oh yeah, things like fire shards and whatnot. We're going to have to filter around. So for now, we're going to set like fire shards into this filter. That way it gets pulled out automatically. And it's going to go down here to the red chest. So this stuff, I'm not going to plug this up to the AE system just yet. And the reason being is because there is a lot of dust in here that I need to do stuff with. Like sulfur, I'm going to leave it as is, because sulfur is something that we would personally go in and use for, I mean, I guess we could make gunpowder, but I don't see that happening. But we would use it to make our rubber bars, or we could use it to make our pyrotheum. So it's something that I don't want to change unless I need it, you know. But things like, for example, cinnabar. Cinnabar is the one that I know that's in here. Cinnabar just needs to be centrifuged to get sulfur and mercury. So, I mean, that's just a small, you know, basically once I start doing the liquid setup, that won't take but a second to plug up, but I don't want that stuff just pouring into the AE system right now, because it's easier for me to dig through this and figure out where I want everything to go if it stays in these chests, you know, in this area. So right now I'm doing it kind of manually, but if we want to plug this up, all we got to do is set down our dimensional transceiver. It's connected to the AE system, and ta-da, there we go, we win. So if you're ready to do that, you can just plug that in, and that's not a problem. I'm just not personally ready for that just yet. A couple episodes and it'll be all connected up. So now we can just take all these ores. I mean, we're gonna have marble and all sorts of junk coming in here, but we can just throw all of our ores into here, and all that stuff's gonna start getting pulled out little by little. It's not the fastest system in the world. I'll probably expand it to where it's a lot faster, because if I want to run this World Eater at full speed, especially once we start hitting like heavy ore veins, we are definitely going to need a faster setup. For example, all the ores are going into here, into the ore area, and then they're going into macerators and all that good stuff. By the way, this is our World Eater. So it's pretty insane right now. There's basically a laser going off in this direction, a laser going up that is digging all the way up to the surface, and there's sand dropping down, but it is what it is. It's not really going to affect anything. It's going to get knocked back and knocked back and knocked back and so on. Sand, or one digging off in this direction, one digging off in this direction. There's actually another one here that can assist that one. But it doesn't have the full excavation focus just yet, so it's not really all that great right at the moment. And then if we pop down here, you will notice that it is digging all the way down to bedrock as well from the bottom. So pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Now, in addition, we are going to add one more laser setup right here. And you'll notice that I have one on the top and one on the bottom on this. So you seem to be able to double up your lasers if you so desire with just one arcane bore base. So whenever we rebuild this, we're going to be doing that a lot more. There we go. And we'll just throw an excavation focus in this, and it should kick on. Now, it doesn't have to have Perdido essence. It just speeds it up a lot. But basically, I wanted an extra set of lasers so that it's not going to skim the bottom right through here. And I know I've got a redstone block. Oh, right here. I brought one with me because I wanted to start this one up. So we're just going to put the redstone block on right there. And that's going to kickstart that one mining. And it's going to start breaking through these blocks. And like I said, that's basically to keep it from skimming the bottom at all. It's going to dig a little bit lower and a little bit to this side. You know, more so than that one does. And that should keep it from skimming the bottom at all. The only thing I'm concerned about is right over here. No, it should be good. So once that laser runs through a little bit, it shouldn't have a problem, you know, not skimming the bottom at all. But yeah, there it is running. And then, of course, once it finishes mining, it's going to move forward and continue mining the next set of blocks. And the whole way through, it's going to be ripping up all the way up to the sky and all the way down to bedrock. So, like I said, I'm going to expand it. So it may be like 3 times larger, like maybe another chunk over here, another chunk over there, digging down, digging up, digging forward, and basically just tearing the ground completely up. And also I want one that we can teleport inside of, and it's a lot more roomy, because this one is really solid. Like, there's no room to move around. I was going to go inside there and pull the lever so you guys can see it move, but honestly, or I was going to place down a lever and move it, but I can't get down there without messing things up. So, like I said, I am going to try to rebuild this and make it a lot better looking and more practical as far as getting inside of it and everything, as well as more lasers. I like these lasers, and I love these double-sided lasers as well. So like if I was to, I don't have any cobblestone, but let me grab some. If I was to set down, say, a piece of cobblestone here, there we go, that one activates. Just lasers for days. But yeah, so anyways, that's really all I wanted to cover this episode. I've got to try to figure out this TPS lag because it's not really like, it's so bad trying to build or do anything with all this lag right now. Bombs away. So hopefully I can find out something in the near future to sort that out. So, but anyways, I am going to end out the episode there. Like I said, if you guys have any questions about any of this stuff, let me know, and I'll do my best to help you out with that. Like I said, probably next episode we're going to cover some ore processing stuff on camera. So, because there's some things that we definitely need to get set up and do with like the liquid processing and things like that, that I want to do with you guys because we haven't done that before. But so far it's really just, like I said, it's the exact same thing that we set up before, just expanded and prettified. So, but yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already for more daily videos. And like I said, next episode we'll work in here. And until then, as always, do take care, stay safe, and I hope to see you guys next time.